This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Hey, happy Monday, everybody. It is the After Party Live. Oop, I have to turn that down. It is the After Party Live on this Thanksgiving week. And thank you for being here at the Mark Thompson Show. Really great today. So happy we get David Katz on the show, Gary Dietrich on the show, the Joel Brokaw interview, really interesting as well. And here we are on the After Party. So glad that I could be with you, even though right now I'm probably somewhere along the grapevine headed toward Disneyland. But we haven't been anywhere in a really long time. And I just felt like it's time to go somewhere. And I'm looking at a daughter who's 15 and how many summers I have left for her with her, how many Thanksgiving breaks during school we have left. And so I'm glad that we're able to spend this time together as a family. Thank you for being here, though. This is a recorded version of this show, obviously. And there were some stories that I wanted to get to today. Before we do that, I do want to ask you to click the like button. If you could click subscribe as well, I would absolutely be so grateful. Share the show if you can, and let's grow it and keep it going. Thank you for the contributions. I'm guessing that Wes has contributed another $5 via PayPal today. So thankful for all the contributions and the way that you guys band together to help keep this show rolling. The PayPal link is in the About tab on the After Party Live here on YouTube, and it is also in the description, the show description every single day. So thank you for that. And for all the super chats and super stickers as well. I won't be here in person to say thank you today, so I wanted to preemptively thank anyone who does such a thing. Let's talk about this story. You know, we hear so many awful things about police officers that when the good stuff pops up, I feel like I just compelled to share it. And I don't know if you saw this story about this little boy who was struggling with his math homework. And apparently his parents were not able to help him. And so he calls 911. He knows he's not supposed to do this, but he calls 911 asking if there's anybody there that might be able to help him do his math. What I love about, there's a couple things I love about this. Number one, that he cares enough about his homework and getting it done and takes it seriously, because a lot of kids would just be like, whatever, I'm not turning it in, it's fine. He cares enough that he goes to extraordinary lengths to understand it and to do it well. And also then that an officer actually responds. So I have this video that I wanted to show you of the dispatcher who takes the call from this little boy. And here's how that went.
Said, you know, ma'am, I know I'm not supposed to call 911 for this, but I really could use some help with my homework. I asked, well, what can I help you with? And he's like, it's math. And I'm like, oh, I've been out of school for over 40 years. So I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can help you with this, but we'll find somebody.
Kim was able to get Sheriff's Deputy Chase Mason to help him complete his decimal-based homework assignment. Kim says she's prepared to respond to any call, but this one was actually a nice change of pace.
Yeah, a very nice change of pace. So the officer does come out, and he too says, I don't know, math homework, not so sure what we can do here. But he ends up just sitting down. They look it all up online, and they end up doing this math assignment together, which I just thought was really, really sweet. He says he gave the boy his business card and said, you know, next time call the non-emergency line, but I'm here for you if you ever need help again. And that is what it comes down to, is the helpers, right? I have another education-related story. This one I thought was pretty cute. And this one is thanks to Phineas, who posted it on the Mark Thompson Show discussion page. And this is about this mystery that happened in, I want to say Japan. It's Japan, at a kindergarten class in Japan. Some thing, person, creature, whatever, and at this time they didn't think it was a creature, was stealing shoes out of the kids' cubbies. And they wouldn't take both both shoes, so that, you know, they would have the pair. So it wasn't like a theft where you were going to actually use the item. One shoe would disappear. And they put a camera on it, and they figured out exactly what was happening. Police have tracked down this shoe thief, and here's the video.
見ると、そこには上靴を加えて持ち去るイタチの姿が。
正
There
直
it is. It's a weasel.
やっと安心してもらえるような報告ができるかなっていうところ。
I'll mute it because we can't understand it. But there, look at this. The weasel stealing shoes out of the cubbies over and over and over again.
頭をよぎったんで
Yeah.
不安でしたね。
Yeah. They managed to figure it out after all this time. And there it is. But for a while, boy, that was really, really perplexing. They couldn't quite figure out what was happening there. So they installed these security cameras to get to the bottom of this. And they said, this is from a kindergarten class. Look at all those shoes. That's a big class. That's from a kindergarten class in Southwest Japan. And they couldn't figure it out because they said the shoes were single thefts, not, double, right? And so when a single shoe went missing, investigators finally put the camera up, and then it happened again. And then they go sifting through the camera footage, and they say it's this weasel, orangey brown fur, sharp claws. This weasel appears from behind a wall, approaching the cubby holes and making off with a single shoe in its mouth. 10 seconds it takes, no time at all, for this weasel to make off with these shoes. And this has been going on for a while. The kindergarten had contacted police quite a few weeks before that. And it seemed like almost every night there were shoes that went missing. The police say the shoe stealing weasel probably had just given birth, and the animal's sensitivity to the cold meant that they were using the shoes maybe to line a nest for the winter. They still don't know where all these shoes exactly went, but now they're trying to prevent this weasel from doing the same thing again. They're covering the cubby holes with nets at night to do what they say is a crime prevention measure. These weasels have a similarly negative connotation to English, the word, oh, what a weasel, right? According to late Japan-based naturalist C.W. Nickel, the musky scent of the Japanese weasel gave rise to the saying, Itachi no saigo pei, which translates to the weasel's final fart. But apparently it's used to refer to the last word or act of an unlikable or dislikable person. So there you go, the weasel caper at kindergarten in Japan. Pretty funny. I do have another story for you about astronauts. And this is one where, they've had trouble with astronauts' health in space long term. And it looks like they've decided now that astronauts living in space won't do permanent harm to their thinking skills, their brains. Hearts and other health issues still a problem. But they say it's good news for astronauts who spend months at a time working on the International Space Station. That even though their bodies and brains are affected by radiation, altered gravity, challenging work situations, even sleep loss on these missions, they looked at 25 astronauts, studied them, and they found no evidence that those type of conditions damage their thinking skills long term. We know living and working in space can be dangerous in other ways, but apparently not associated with widespread cognitive impairment that would be suggestive of any type of brain damage. That according to NASA. So they looked at the astronauts by checking their performance of complex tasks. And they say usually the people they looked at worked at the space station for at least 6 months. They tested their mental skills before, during, and after their missions. And while there were some changes that were shown, nothing seemed permanent or indicative of damage to the central nervous system. So there you go. Now we just have to figure out how to protect hearts and other types of health from the damages of radiation in space. We talk for a moment about tomatoes and the tinkering with them. They CRISPR'd tomatoes, trying to make them sweeter and larger by messing around with their genes. They blocked 2 genes, and that resulted in tastier mutant tomatoes. I always wonder, if you mess with something on one end, what did you do to it on the other end? The mass-produced tomatoes that we see today often grow to be about palm-sized. But long ago, the ancestors of today's tomatoes were much smaller. They were also a lot sweeter and they were more flavorful due to their lower water content compared to what we've got now in grocery stores. It's the runny mess when you cut open a tomato, right? But using CRISPR editing techniques, researchers say they've discovered new mutant tomatoes that are as large as modern varieties while still able to retain sweeter, more enjoyable tastes. And all that took was for them to deactivate 2 genes. They did this at the Chinese Academy of Agricultural Sciences in Beijing. They used the CRISPR-Cas9 technique to identify the pair of genes controlling sugar amounts in the tomato species. And according to researchers, these 2 genes they found act as the tomato's sugar brakes by degrading the enzymes responsible for sucrose production. And by deactivating those 2 genes, the new varietal grew fruit with 30% more glucose and more fructose than common mass production tomatoes as well. They also resulted in no measurable change in fruit size or total quantity. So they say there are fewer lighter seeds in the mutants, but they exhibit normal germination. And the findings provide insight into the regulatory mechanisms controlling fruit sugar accumulation in tomatoes and offer opportunities to increase sugar content in large fruit cultivars without sacrificing size or yield. The CRISPR tomato study is published November 13th in the journal Nature. They say it's a marked improvement on the tomatoes currently found in grocery stores. A lot of people feel weird, though, about eating food, animals, what have you, fruit, vegetables that have been tampered with as far as genetically modified. So I don't know how you feel about that. If you want the sweeter, bigger one that we've messed with in order to get it to be this way or not. But if they can do this to tomatoes, what else can they do it to? Anytime they use that CRISPR, they're looking at some other type of end goal. At least that's what I think. Let's talk a little bit about eye color. I read this story, kind of disturbing to me. I know hopefully everyone has at least one thing they like about themselves, right? That you might hate the way your butt looks or the way your thighs rub together, or, maybe you think your eyes are too close together or your eyebrows are too bushy, or you pick a million things wrong with us. But maybe you can pick at least one thing right with yourself. And for me, I've always liked the color of my eyes because they're my dad's eyes. I got my eyes from my dad. And so I have green eyes, and I always thought, oh, I have my dad's green eyes. That's kind of cool. For some people, though, the color of their eyes isn't their favorite part of themselves, to the point that they would actually try to go through a surgical procedure to change eye color. There's this new procedure to lighten the eyes. It's a surgery. It's called pigmentation. And they've got a clinic in Manhattan. There are other doctors who started to do this as well. And it's really, really taking off in popularity. This doctor says he had about 15 patients for pigmentation in the first year. This year, 1 year later, he's on track to treat 400 people. It is $12,000 to change your eye color, and it is not covered by insurance. It is all completely cosmetic, right? There's no medical reason to do this. As a matter of fact, there are risks. You could lose some vision by doing this, by changing the color of your eyes. There are some doctors that will use this procedure to treat people with diseased or injured eyes. It can give you cloudy corneas because of infections or trauma in the appearance of the iris, which is the colored part of our eye. It can help reduce debilitating glare caused by iris or corneal damage, but it can also be used for purely cosmetic reasons. And in the 2010s, doctors in Europe started experimenting with this procedure for purely cosmetic reasons. A lot of eye specialists say this is so irresponsible that you would perform pigmentation on people who don't medically need this procedure, people with totally healthy eyes. And the benefits really could outweigh the risks on this one, especially if you're healthy and there's nothing wrong with your eyeballs. There are some doctors that say they're really surprised that their colleagues are doing this type of thing. The American Academy of Ophthalmology warns patients pigmentation surgery carries serious risks for vision loss and other complications, including light sensitivity and bacterial or fungal infection. They say the safest way, if you want to change the appearance of your eye color, is with contact lenses. They did survey some of the people that had this procedure done. 12 out of 40 people that underwent this pigmentation complained of temporary light sensitivity. 5 people said the pigments faded or changed in color. One person who had previously had LASIK, I guess, developed a condition that caused their corneas to thin and bulge. It just doesn't seem worth it. Whatever color you have, just love it. Learn to love it. If you have a beautiful chocolate brown eyes, dance around to the Brown Eyed Girl song. Embrace your brown, right? If you have green, cool. If you have blue, embrace it. Whatever you have. But I guess you look in the mirror and you just wish things were different. Oh. There's this one woman. Her name is Lucia. Lucia is 36 and she's an artist from Indiana, and she appears in this Wall Street Journal article saying that she also remains sensitive to light after having this procedure done twice. She went back for a second time because she wanted her aqua color eyes to really pop. Wow. Okay. I can't look at that picture too long because eye surgery kind of freaks me out. So she went back to have her eyes lightened up even more. And ever since she had the procedure done, she needs sunglasses when it's sunny, but she said it's been worth it for her. She said she sees her appearance as an extension of her vibrant artwork, which includes hyper-realistic wildlife paintings. I just don't see that it would be worth losing your eyesight or messing with your health to change the color of your eyes. I don't get it. You guys get it? I don't know. The Food and Drug Administration approved vision correction procedures being used for off-label pigmentation, but the pigments haven't been approved in the United States for use in the eye. There's this French company which sells these pigmentation dyes that are certified in the European Union. And they say, listen, this is safer than cosmetic iris implant surgery or laser depigmentation, which can permanently change your eye color. That this surgery, they say, has much less risk. So I don't know. The Wall Street Journal story details this other woman. She's a hairstylist, 21 years old, out of Connecticut. She said she was bullied relentlessly and felt more confident when she wore contact lenses. Perhaps she was bullied for wearing glasses. I don't know. She started changing her appearance when she turned 18. First, she got her boobs done. Then she got her teeth done. Then she got a Brazilian butt lift. And then she changed her brown eyes to green. She said, it's the best decision I've done with my money ever. She said it helps her deal with her insecurities and that she's willing to accept the risks. People, she said, say, I want attention. Well, she said, everybody wants attention. I do things that make me feel seen, and I never felt good until now. So I guess if that's the way you're feeling about yourself, hey, who am I to say no? I just can't imagine putting your eyesight at risk to get this type of a result. I don't see what's so bad about brown eyes. I think they're beautiful. The color of milk chocolate? Come on. Gorgeous. Everybody has their thing, I guess, you know? I mean, if you could right now for free go have a surgery that would change something about yourself, would you do it? I mean, I'm kind of letting my hair, the silver strands are showing up and I'm not pulling them out anymore. I have no plans to cover them over. So I'm kind of embracing it. Maybe I would have something done. I don't know. Maybe a tummy tuck? Probably not, though. I just, I'm not, I guess I'm not that vain. Like, it doesn't matter to me. Here I am. Take me as I am. This is it. There's more to me than my outward appearance. And I know that people are judged on that, and I get it. But maybe it's because I've spent my whole career focusing on my voice and my personality and who I am rather than how I look. I come at it from a different perspective. Of course, now that we're on YouTube, there's, all bets are off with that. Maybe I should be paying more attention to the appearance. But I just don't get going to these drastic extremes to change who you are. Well, it is Hide in Your Cave Monday, but I have this story that I thought was kind of interesting before we get to it. And it's about Neanderthals and how there's new evidence that they had kind of a glue making oven. It was found in a seaside cave where Neanderthals lived. 60,000-year-old glue making oven. This is a well-known hangout for Neanderthals, this cave you're looking at right here. And archaeologists say they've uncovered a structure they believe was used to cook up a form of prehistoric glue. The cave is called Vanguard Cave, and it's part of Gorham's Cave Complex in the British Overseas Territory of Gibraltar. It's a seafront overlooking the Western Mediterranean, and these caverns are thought to be one of the last known habitations of the Neanderthals in Europe before they drifted into extinction. I've heard it said Neanderthal, and then some people say Neanderthal, and I don't know what's right, so I'm just going with the TH sound. In a layer of sediment in this cave, dated to around 67,000 to 60,000 years ago, researchers say they uncovered a hearth structure that was clearly built by human hands. They say the hearth was used to create birch tar, which this is kind of a gloppy substance used by prehistoric humans to attach a handle to a tool or a weapon. It was called hafting in the weaponsmith business. So the structure was circular, had 2 channels and a thick wall lining, suggesting a more complex construction than a typical looking fire pit. And the chemical traces found inside of this thing suggest the combustion of resinous plant material, charred wood, microscopic ash fragments, plant compounds that are often associated with the production of tar from birch bark or similar plants. The evidence led the team to look at the use of this structure for heating a flowering plant called rock roses under anoxic conditions by burning herbs and shrubs. They went so far as to build their own similar structure and carry out an experiment to see if they could cook up some of this birch tar as well. And so they did. They distilled a small bunch of young leaves of rock rose for a reasonable amount of time, they said, in a closed, almost anoxic environment, and able to produce a tar, they say, that was more than enough to haft or connect 2 spearheads using only tools and materials available in the area for the period in reference. So they crafted this gooey glue-like substance from raw ingredients and then used it to create these tools. And they say this is evidence that Neanderthals had a high level of intelligence. Some people thought maybe they weren't the best and brightest in the world because of their brain size, but now anthropologists say this shows Neanderthals had some grasp of combustion and basic chemistry, not to mention a strong degree of cooperation and communication. And contrary to the outdated stereotype of Neanderthals as being hunched over and kind of dumb, anthropologists say they really were anything but dumb. That there are cave loads of evidence that show that they had intelligence, intricate cultural practices, and emotional depth. So there you go. The study, by the way, is published in the journal Quaternary Science Reviews about this glue making oven found in a Neanderthal cave. And with that, let's do it. It is Hide in Your Cave Monday. I have 2 caves that I wanted to show you today, and both of them are in California. And the first one is called Boyden Caverns. Boyden Caverns. This is really an interesting looking cavern and cave. This is, and go back to it. This is in California, located in Giant Sequoia National Monument and Sequoia Forest. So not too far for us to go check this out. It is deep, though, in Kings Canyon, Boyden Cavern, Boyden. It is a marble cave that is open for tours seasonally. Walk is between 45 to 60 minutes, and it takes you down deep into this world beneath the 2,000-foot high marble walls of the famous King's Gate and Windy Cliffs. Massive stalagmites, delicate hanging stalactites, beautiful flowstone, and unique pendant and shield formations here at Boyden Caverns. Easy to get to. There's a parking lot right next to the South Fork of the Kings River, and you have a place to have lunch there. You can do a picnic lunch after your drive on Highway 180 along the dramatic edge of Kings Canyon, which is the deepest river-cut canyon in the United States. They even have a little gift shop there that sells snacks and drinks and souvenirs. And there are guided caves or guided tours with this. So here's some pictures from Boyden Caverns. That's pretty cool. The formations in here are amazing. Something interesting to see anywhere you look. Really incredible. There's another shot. I mean, that might be worth the trip down, down, down into what looks to be the center of the earth, right? They've got some light shining in there, but the formations are absolutely amazing. It's another picture. So cool. The next one I wanted to share with you, this looks to be a privately owned cave, and this is the Lake Shasta Caverns. Look at that. Here's the Lake Shasta Caverns. It's a geologic adventure for the whole family, they say. Explore Lake Shasta on a catamaran. Your captain acts as your guide and informs you about the geography, the formation, and the natural beauty of the caverns. This is a natural landmark in California. It is strenuous. People say if you can't do stairs, this is not the place for you. There's about 800 stairs, and it can be pretty taxing, especially if you have knee pain or back pain. But it's this comprehensive tour to see these caverns and the lake. And along the way, they say you could see bald eagles, mountain lions, and black bears if you take a tour of these cabins. So here's how it works. You have to get on a boat in order to go across this area of the river to see the caverns. So first you take a bus to go on the boat, then to get to where the caves are. And here are some of the amazing pictures from Shasta Caverns. Just beautiful. Look at that. This is, again, you cross parts of Lake Shasta to get to this. The geologic formations inside this cave are incredible. Really, really cool. It's also really large inside, and as the name would suggest, cavernous. They usually do trips of between 40 to 80 people, so a lot of people can fit inside. But again, lots and lots and lots of stairs and lots of hiking as well. At the end, when you come out of the cave, there is the most incredible view of Lake Shasta. So a lot of photo opportunities if you're looking to do something like that. And if you were planning to go to Lake Shasta anyway, maybe it's worth taking a look at Shasta Caverns. I think that's kind of a cool place to go. Yeah. And there it is between Shasta Caverns and the Boyden Cavern here in California. That would be Hide in Your Cave Monday. Look at that. Are you ready to come out now? Let's come out, wherever you are. Well, these shows might be a little bit shorter, the recorded versions this week, but at least we have something for you and a great place to interact as well while the show is streaming. Tomorrow on the Mark Thompson Show, David K. Johnston will be on. I believe Jefferson Graham will be as well, and Mark may add some other guests. So we'll have a show for you at 11, and then that show will be followed by another recorded version of this show. Both shows will be dark on Thursday and Friday. Please join us for a live version of the Nikki Maduro Show Wednesday night. I think we're going to do it at 5 p.m., but stay tuned for a little more information about that. All right. Have a great evening, everyone, and I will see you right back here on the YouTube tomorrow. But for now, make it a great rest of your Monday. Bye-bye.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.